कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि.
Let's understand this. What is dissolution? I don't know how you got this, that's not what's been said anywhere, but it's a little off, but let me correct that. See, whether people are conscious of it or not conscious of it, every human being, knowingly or unknowingly, are seeking solutions to wherever they are. Isn't it so? Or in other words, the nature of human intelligence is such that wherever you are, there is a problem. Yes? This happened. It's okay if I tell you a joke? I know it's a serious question, very spiritual. A husband and wife who are over 70 years of age were celebrating their 45th wedding anniversary. So they decided they will go through everything just the way it happened on the wedding day. So, wedding got over, they went to the church where they got married, they came out of it at the same time. Then as they did on that day, they went to a romantic Italian movie. Then after that, they went for a dinner in a particular restaurant. They had the same kind of food and the same kind of wine, and they started driving. Then the wife said, "John, what's happened with you? Do you remember 45 years ago when we were driving, how passionately you kissed me?" So he said, "Okay." Hey, don't laugh, you don't know what is 45 years later. That's a different world, okay? So he tried to kiss her, and unfortunately, 45 years later, your body is not the same, and the cars are faster, and boom, they went into the bridge. So they were at the gates of heaven. Then they got checked in together. And because both of them were golfers, they asked, "Is there a golf course in heaven?" Saint Peter said, "Yes, the best golf course you would have ever seen." So, "Can we see?" I said, "Fine." They saw it was an immaculate course. They asked, "Can we tee off? Is there a tea time?" Any time is tea time in heaven, day or night. So, "But we don't have our clubs?" "No problem, just for you, fitted for you, golden clubs." So, the man teed off, splitting the fairway, straight and long. The lady walked up to the lady's tee and teed off again straight. Then they were walking towards the ball for the second shot. Suddenly the husband became depressed, as it usually many times happens to the husbands. She looked at him and said, "John, what's the problem? We're in heaven, we're on the best golf course, you had a great shot, I had a great shot, why are you so depressed?" He said, "If it was not for your stupid health food, we could have come here long time ago." So, this is the nature of human intellect, because it gets only one face of everything. It is always thinking everything is a problem. When you don't have a problem, you're dissolved. Please see this, because you are not a problem, you're a possibility. When most people, when they utter the word human, They say, oh, I'm only a human. They're always referring to the word human as a limitation, as a problem. Very few people are saying, I'm human, referring to the immensity of being human. Because most people have not explored the immensity of what it means to be human. This is why there is so much talk about heaven and God and so many things, because people have failed to explore the immensity of what it means to be human. If you explore the full depth and dimension of what it means to be human, then you don't worry about dissolution, because is it true that you are not born this way, of this size as you are today? Hello? Slowly you accumulated. How? Just the food that you've eaten, isn't it? What you accumulate can be yours. You cannot say it's me, isn't it? Hello? As I'm speaking, I pick up this vessel and say, this is my vessel. Then you will think, oh, Sadhguru has some problem. But everybody says he is wise, let us listen some more. After some time I say, this is me. Then you'll say, let's go. Because now it's dangerous, isn't it? But this you're doing every day. Food appears on your plate, you say, this is my food. You eat it and then you say, this is me. If you get this point today, that the body that you carry is just a piece of the planet, today if you get it experientially, your life will change today. Otherwise, one day you will anyway get it from the maggots, but it's a bit late. So dissolution does not mean destruction. Dissolution means you broke the boundaries of your individuality. Because your individual existence is a myth that you have created. You are very much individual, you don't like the person who's sitting next to you right now. So don't breathe the air that they are breathing. Do one thing, just close your nose like this, hold it like this for 2 minutes. You know that without communication, you won't last for a moment. This is not just with respiration, this is with every particle in this body. Without being in communication with the entire existence, this cannot exist for a moment. So dissolution is not something that you have to do. If you drop the conclusions that you have made about yourself, this is already dissolved. Modern physics is telling you this, isn't it? You're already dissolved, you don't have to dissolve. It is just that you have a fancy idea in your head. To get that idea out is the spiritual process. Spiritual process is not a real process. Spiritual process is just helping you to distance yourself from your physiological and psychological process so that you see life just the way it is.
Sadhguru.
Where are you? Okay.
Yeah. So I completely resonate with the idea of yours which you have in education. And having graduated from this place, and I don't know why I did engineering, 1 year of preparation, 4 years of B.Tech, 2 years of M.Tech. Out of that frustration of why I'm doing engineering, I wanted to work in the education sector, and currently I am working. I face many challenges. To bring about a change in the system of how things are working and how children are taught, it is a very slow process of how things move and how much you try that, okay, there should be a holistic development and this and that. Things boil down to, okay, ठीक है, 12 तक पढ़ लो, उसके बाद ये कर लो, वो कर लो. So I want to ask you if you can give some tips on how you think of how education should be. Can be actually scaled up? क्योंकि बहुत सारे models हैं which are there in some parts of the country which believe in this. And I too feel कि meditation can be introduced in the system of education. So what do you feel कि how can we make this happen at a large level?
Please. So we are always thinking of changing the system. I'm not saying it should not, it should. But within the existing systems, we can do many things, depending upon the individual teachers and individual educators, how they operate. Because when you try to change the system in your own time, when you want to change the system, you must understand any system. Even within the family, if you want to change a system, it will take many years. It's not going to change overnight. Sometimes a generation has to pass for it to change. To walk into your house with your shoes on, one generation has to pass, isn't it? So, instead of thinking how to change the system, yes, we must have the vision of changing the system, but within the system, how to do the maximum delivery is something that all of us should always look at. Otherwise, we are always talking about future generations without addressing the current generations. It'll never work that way. It'll only be a dream. We have to make the difference in the current generation. Only then, if you take a small step now, the next generation will take a bigger step. But without taking this step, we are dreaming of a big step, it will not happen. It will be just an idea which will not work. So, as an educator, you mentioned the word meditation. We must understand this, what meditation means. The word meditation, the English word meditation doesn't mean anything. If somebody sits with their eyes closed, people think they're meditating, but you can sit with your eyes closed for many reasons. Unable to bear the world, you can close your eyes. Yes. You may be… in yoga there are many things, you may be doing japa, tapa, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, shunya, samyama, we don't know what you're doing. So, there is… the word meditation is not specific, it is too general and it's not saying anything in particular. Let us say if we are thinking to align the word meditation with what we refer to as dhyan or dhyana or dhyanam as you go south. Because Hindi-speaking people, you have a way of clipping away the words in the end. We say Rama, you say Ram. You say Dhyanam, you say Dhyan. You're cutting off everything in the end, that's your option. But if you're thinking it is dhyan or dhyana or whatever, what this means is, if you sit here, if you have a distinct experience that your body is here, your mind is somewhere else, what is you is elsewhere. Or in other words, there is a little space between what is you and what is your body. What is you and what is the content of your mind. Suppose this little space was achieved within you right now, would all these young boys be complaining about stress? You must do one thing. If you are an aviator, you would know this. You're driving to the airport, traffic jam, traffic jam, traffic jam. You curse everybody and honk and do all this and get there. Then you fly. Then you're flying over the traffic jam, it all looks very nice, you know. Simply because of the distance. When you were in it, it was a terrible thing. Once you're flying above it, it looks quite nice actually, traffic jams. Once there is a little distance, that's the end of suffering. So if you create a little space between you and your body, between you and your mind, this is the end of suffering. Because there are only two kinds of sufferings in your life, physical suffering, mental suffering. Do you know any other kind of suffering? Only two sufferings. If you distance yourself a little bit, that's all. Distancing is not by attitude. Anyway, these are accumulations. You gathered this body, you gathered this mind. If you keep what belongs to you one way and what is you in another way, it's taken care of. So, we can teach you a simple method with which you can do this. Very, very simple process. Every human being is capable of this. Let's understand this. When it comes to external realities, all of us are differently capable. No two human beings are equally capable. When it comes to inner possibilities, all of us are equally capable. No human being has come better endowed than the other. It is just that most human beings never look in that direction.
Namaste Sadhguru, I'm here. My name is Kamal. I'm here with my wife, my mother and Thank you so much for coming here. We have been following your guidance for many years now, and it inspired us to, you mentioned about IYC, it inspired us to create YIC or Young India Challenge, where 2 days back we invited the youth of India from Erode, Bangalore, Assam to solve India's challenges. And I would like to ask you that the way we are connecting this is that if people find their passion and do what they love, they should be able to positively contribute to the society and solve the biggest challenge. But we see, that there are so many practical situations that young people face, and today we are talking about youth and truth. How can we do this more and wake up more and more young people that not only do they follow their passion, but they must connect it to nation building and solving the biggest challenges of our time, especially the youth here, which is, as you said, privileged and has house, shelter, and the basics are covered. How can we make it more experiential, that it becomes a movement that young people not only do what they love, but also make a positive impact? How can we do this more and get a large number of young people to get into this conversation?
You are the young man. I'm willing to speak to any young people or old people. I don't see youth as a numerical entity. I think a lot of young people are pretty old, complaining about stress. Being young or old is not just of age, not the question of your birthday, when you were born. Are you an exuberant life or have you become? Youth means life in the making. All possibilities wide open, that's what youth means. You not become conceited yet. You should not be, I'm saying. You have not made your conclusions about life, you're still willing to look at everything fresh. That's what youth means. I think it's the business of every human being to stay that way all their life, that you never make your conclusions, you become a constant exploration and a seeking in life, that you not become a conclusion. Conclusion should happen with death. Before that if you conclude, then we will have to endure dead people walking around in the society who have no zest for anything, but we have to bear with them. That should not happen to you or to anybody, isn't it? So, you said many things in one question about nation building, about many things, yes. In 70 years we should have built the nation, but we have made some grave mistakes for which we are paying the price, but there's no point doing post-mortem and going on thinking what we could have done right at that time. We should do the right things now. And as a nation, as a culture, I must tell you this. I speak to a variety of people, to the highest level of academics, scientists, in various parts of the world. But I still find, if you take a bunch of people, just like that, if you catch them, 100 people on the street in Mumbai or Bangalore or Chennai, they're much smarter than anybody you can find anywhere, really. No, I didn't mean to leave out Delhi. I'm saying, average intelligence in this country, average intellect in this country is naturally high because of a certain cultural ethos that we have had for a long time. But our problem is, their human intelligence is organized to produce something. Here human intelligence is disorganized. Everybody is a genius, but nothing happens. You go and sit in a tea shop, he will be telling you how Virat Kohli, his bat he's not holding it right. What he should do? The tea shop owner. He will also say how Narendra Modi does not know this, how he should have done this, how he should have done that. Only problem is he does not know how to make good tea. We must transit from this. We must be a conscious application of genius, not a wild application of genius, it will not produce any results, it'll only create problems. It's very important that we organize India to a productive future, otherwise we'll work against each other constantly. See, we are driving against each other, all of us could easily drive with the roads that we have, for the traffic that we have, we could easily drive. Well, we could easily come up with something, okay, everybody must drive minimum 60 kilometers per hour, because there are some very fast drivers, some slow drivers, some who don't know what is driving, some who thinks they're Formula 1 racers, all kinds of people are there on the same street. You know, this I realized about 20 years ago or more, yeah. About 20 years ago, when I first went to United States, I'm always used to putting my right foot down, full on. So I'm hitting like 150 miles per hour. People say, Sadhguru, don't do this, they will handcuff you. I said, why? The road is wide open, the engine is good. What's my problem? And I'm okay. So, no, Sadhguru, that's not the thing. See, here they put 70. You have to go 70 only. It took me some time to understand. Then I looked around, then I see an 82-year-old woman is driving a school bus. Then I saw, okay, I can drive at any speed and keep the car on the road. But now this lady who's 82 is driving a school bus. Maybe if I go boom like this next to her, we don't know what happens to her. Then it took me a year to take this passion of putting my right foot down. Now I'm a little controlled, I'm just above the speed limit I'm because I started appreciating the organization. It kind of… for an Indian mind, it's a little difficult because what I can do, but what about the rest of the organization? The organization has been done so that everybody can participate in it. I may be good at something, so I will do it in a certain way. If I want to do that, I must go on a racetrack. You know, I really want to hit 200 miles per hour, I must go on a racetrack, not on the road, because the road is made for everybody. All kinds of people are driving, and most people don't have help even though they're 85, 90, there are 90-year-olds driving. You can't drive at 100 miles per hour next to him. But we can easily set this up. I'm just taking road as an example. With every aspect of our life, I think India, what it lacks is too much genius and not enough organization. You young people must bring that organization into this country so that this intellectual investment or intellectual, the bank that we have, the human resource that we have can become a great potential, not a huge problem. It can become a big problem if it is not organized.
So we're running a little short of time. This is going to be the last question we'll be taking.
Please, microphone, take the microphone.
There is so much effort and struggle to change and design human mind when we are out of mood. Is there any way to design the human mind to be inside?
You must use the microphone. Microphone is not your requirement, it's my requirement.
Okay. Thank you, madam. I said there is so much effort and struggle to design and shape human mind when we are out of womb. Is there any way you know, sir, to design human mind when we are inside womb? That's my question.
At home? Is that what you asked?
Inside womb.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Who is pregnant? Now, if you do not know this, maybe in northern part of the country it's largely almost gone totally. In south it's still little alive in the villages, but there also it's wiped out quite a bit. If you do not know this, from pre-conception to conception to various stages of pregnancy and delivery, and as long as the mother is feeding the child, there's an entire established process in this country as to how a woman should eat, what she should do, what kind of people she should interact with, what kind of form she should look at, what kind of form she should not look at, what kind of sound she should hear, what kind of sound she should not hear. All this was very much there. But we must also understand life has changed. Today women are going to work, they have to get into that horrible bus where they're pushed around, it doesn't matter she's pregnant. And all kinds of things, all kinds of fumes, all kinds of sounds, all kinds of noises, all kinds of abuse, every kind of thing happening to her. In some way, we are doing that to the child also. There is no job in the country or in the world where you can take off for 1.5 years and get back to the job to fulfill this. In one way, because of various things, I'm not passing a judgment on this, but for various reasons, we are not taking the business of manufacturing the next generation of people with sufficient care. We are not paying enough attention to it, for which we will pay a price. Over a period of time, we will pay an immense price for that. But we are definitely not taking enough care about it in the entire world, not just in this country. Because we've got all kinds of social situations which does not allow that space for a woman to dedicate that kind of time and attention. See, being pregnant is not just about reproduction. We're literally manufacturing the next generation of people, isn't it? Is it not important, of all the products that you produce on this planet, is it not most important that we produce wonderful human beings for the future generation? Is it not the most important thing? But we have created a social situation and an economic situation where there is no such possibility to take care of these things. To whatever extent individual women or individual families can take care of it, they can take care of it, but for the larger society it's out of question because things have changed, you can't turn it back just like that. Still the child is not born yet.
So, thank you.
The intelligence of the body is such, if you already do not know this, if a woman delivers a male child, the quality of the milk that she produces is in a certain way. If she delivers a female child, the quality of the milk is totally different. If she delivers twins, one male and one female, one breast will ooze certain type of milk, another breast will ooze another kind of milk. This is the level of intelligence invested in this body. We have to treat it with that much care. This is not some crude machinery. This is the finest piece of technology on the planet, isn't it? Yes or no? This is the finest thing. In the entire evolutionary scale, these millions of years of work that nature did to produce this, but in our desperation for economic well-being, I think we are not paying the kind of attention that this needs, the kind of care that this needs so that this can function at the highest level and can also produce human beings for the future who are of a certain kind. So how to develop the brain when they're in the womb? It's very important that the atmosphere in which the child is growing up is kept in a certain way, at least amount of disturbance, with right kind of reverberations, right kind of sounds, right kind of food, everything. Today, they're barely nourished, the pregnant woman in most part of the country, they're barely nourished. Where is the question of right kind of vibrations, right kind of atmospheres? One thing we can do for this is, every home, if possible, every working place, we can have a consecrated space. Today, slowly they're coming up with instruments which can measure the reverberations of certain objects. We can create consecrated spaces, or we can create consecrated objects, which at least at that time she can carry upon her body, so that kind of, to some extent, it's not the best solution, to some extent it neutralizes the outside impact to whatever extent possible. or if she lives in a home, the place where she sleeps and other things are taken care of, some amount of respite can be there for that new life which is blossoming within the womb. Please,
By reading ancient scriptures like Bhagavad Gita or Guru Granth Sahib, we tend to become very much pure. We look the world from a
What?
different perspective.
what is that? You become pure.
A person becomes pure.
But why were they impure? No, why were they impure?
Because sometimes people are very much unkind. Unkind.
Unkind. Oh.
Yeah. So we look at the world in a different way. We become very much kind, and we develop the tendency of forgiving people. But what happens when we go to the workplace, we realize that because of your this attitude, because you become very much kind and you have the tendency to forgive people, the other people, they start using you. So what should we do? What a person should do in such cases? Should a person stop reading such ancient scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Guru Granth Sahib? Or what is the right age to read such books?
Now, one thing, the last part of the question that you said, other people will start using you. That means you're not using yourself well. That there is space and time that others can use you. If you're using yourself to the fullest extent, nobody will have an opportunity to use you. See, if you are, let us say, you're using something 24 hours of the day, where will I get tempted to use the same thing? So 24 hours of the day, every moment of your life, if you are using this to the fullest extent, to do whatever you want to do, where is the chance for somebody to use this? If you're not using it, it's good, at least somebody else is using it. Now, anyway, Bhagavad Gita is not about kindness, Krishna is talking about war. He's a very practical person. When there is war needed, he is trying to instigate war. He sees there is no other solution, so he is saying, let's go to war. Somebody else is hesitating. He's saying, this is it, this is the time to fight, this is not the time to hesitate. Where is kindness in this? There is simple political sense. What needs to be done is being done. He's only saying, don't get caught up in this activity. You need to do it, just do it. Don't make too much fuss about it. Kindness. See, kindness means… kindness is useful only for the fallen, isn't it? When you're standing on your feet, do you want somebody to be kind to you? Hello? Let us say you were going to your friend's house every day. They welcomed you and everything, they fed you, they took care of you. But one day you realized they were doing it simply because they were kind to you. Will you feel insulted or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Only when you're fallen, kindness matters. When you stand on your feet, you don't want kindness, you want acceptance, you want respect, you want… Yes or no? So kindness is only for the sick and the dying, not for young. You should not ask for kindness ever. Do you want to pass because your professor is kind to you? Do you want to get a job because somebody is kind to you, or because out of your competence you want to get the job? Which way is it? Do not seek anything in this life out of kindness. That will happen when you're in your deathbed, when you can't do anything for yourself, then you expect some kindness. That also, if you're very capable, you can handle that also, you can walk to your own grave and die. I can teach you that technology also. Yes, that as you live consciously, you can also die consciously. It is possible for a human being to do this. A whole lot of creatures do this, do you know? Do you know, when a cobra wants to die, it finds a place somewhere, usually on top of a tree, one branch where nobody can reach, and just sits there for over 12 to 15 days without eating, and it'll die there. When I first noticed this, I didn't figure this. I thought, why has this cobra become so skinny? I brought it home and I pour milk into his mouth, I try to make him eat. And then I leave him. He again goes up the tree and sits there. 3, 4 times I bring him down, again he goes up and sits there, and after 5 days he's dead. So when a crawly creature like a snake has this much awareness that life is coming to an end and he wants to die in a certain way, human beings must have this, isn't it? In this culture, we develop this. When a human being knows his life is ebbing, he withdraws. He sits by himself, it's called vanaprastha. He goes into the jungle, sits by himself, slowly leaves his life, this body. This is a wonderful way of conducting life. Now till the last moment somebody is pumping it because it's an industry. It doesn't matter, they want to stretch you for another few hours because few hours will cost a few thousand rupees and whatever else, that's different. So don't… as a young person, don't ever look for kindness. Let your competence open the doors, not somebody's kindness, isn't it?